Welcome back. This is episode 2 of my critical let's play of Thief the Dark Project. This is the second level, break from Crag's Cleft Prison, and it's going to introduce the Hammerites, who are one of the religious factions in Thief. They're the law and order, very strict faction who are naturally your enemies as a thief. In that first mission we saw Garrett at his most cynical and selfish. He's not a nice guy, so the villains need to be worse than he is. He's an anti-hero, so that means he has to go up against some real jerks. And this level is going to establish the Hammerites as real jerks. Also, it's going to be a change of pace after that urban mission. You'll see what I mean in a second.
I went to Cuddy's place to deliver the scepter, but Cuddy wasn't there. He'd been arrested by the Hammerites. Apparently they didn't approve of his occupation, and I doubt they approve of mine. So hopefully they'll never catch sight of me when I break him out of their prison. Which is what I'm going to do.
Like a badass.
They're holding Cuddy in a mining complex carved out of a quarry. The quarry's flooded, but the Hammers still work the top-level mines, and have converted part of the complex into a penitentiary for those who violate their tenets. An associate of mine was confined there and has provided me with a map.
God, I love these maps.
It would be difficult to get in by way of the main gate, but there is another option. The mines break the surface of a hill south of the quarry. I'll drop into the mines and head for the prison, which will be found somewhere uphill and to the north. The Hammers don't venture into these lower mine levels because they're reputed to be haunted.
By pirates?
I'd rather not have to do this job, but Cuddy's a reliable fence, and I don't appreciate the Hammerites abducting him. And he owes me money for the Bafford job.
Like I say, Garrett's not a nice guy. We've got slightly more stuff for sale now. We can buy moss arrows, which fire down a carpet of moss. You can walk silently across, speed potions, you can run faster, and through a network of informants we can buy tips, which are little clues that will help us get through the level. I'm going to buy the moss arrows, and I can only afford the cheapest tip. Some more water arrows. Like I said in the first video, you get 0 savings in Thief. So that money that I just spent is the money that I got from the loot from the first level, but if I had saved any money from the start of that level, I wouldn't have it now. Like the 3 cash that I have now will be gone, and the next level, the only money I have will be the money that I get from whatever I manage to loot out of Crag's Cleft Prison, because Garrett doesn't have a bank account, doesn't believe in savings. So this is different. After an entire mission in the dark, in the city, suddenly we're outdoors in the middle of nowhere. And once again we have to go through the water to get from sort of the safe outside to the dangerous inside. Chibling. Going through water in Thief always means you're about to go somewhere more dangerous. So these are those haunted mines with crunchy gravel underfoot, so it's going to be very hard to be quiet. And a dead body. I'm sure that's how mining works, right? Gold and silver just lying around on the ground. Being a steampunk setting, Thief does have to have Tesla coils. Those are mandatory. And there's our first zombie. Zombies in 1998 weren't quite as oversaturated in video games as they are now. These guys weren't everywhere, so this was a hell of a surprise the first time you played Thief, and suddenly there's a zombie shambling towards you. Fortunately, the Hammerites have left a little shrine with a holy water font. It'll turn my water arrows into holy water arrows temporarily. Dramatic. Yeah, Thief doesn't advertise itself as a horror game, and the supernatural elements of it just sort of spring up out of nowhere. It becomes a recurring theme in the series that there's always at least one level that's just a straight up horror game. This isn't that level, we'll get to it later, but there's always one level in each Thief game which is just designed to scare the hell out of you, and because it's not a horror game the rest of the time, I find them much more effective. Some spiders down there, and a lift that will take us up to the factory. Everything mechanical in Thief makes a ton of noise to discourage you from using it, but we have to use this lift. Another zombie with his own cloud of bugs. Fortunately, the zombies are slow, so we can just sort of avoid them if I don't run into a dead end. I'll just run past you and head towards the factory. This guy's shaking his head like he doesn't want us to go this way. That means it's the right way to go. Yeah, I remember where all of the gold is. Now we can hear the Hammerites. So we're moving up out of the mines and into the factories. And we'll go from zombies to living opponents, who will turn out to be no less scary. I feel afraid to say anything here in case they hear me talking, which is of course ridiculous. And he fell right in the shadow. Nice. So, we leave the mines and head up into the factory. And again, a noisy lift that we have to use. But at least these stone floors are quieter than the gravel. The electric lights can't be put out, but the burning torches can. There's a theme, a sort of old-fashioned nature versus technology thing in the Thief games that will become more apparent later on when we meet the pagans, who are the Hammerites, nature-loving opposites. But it permeates the game even down to the lighting.
Is someone there?
Yikes.
All is quiet now.
With the electric lights as something that Garrett can't really deal with, while the old burning torches,
Who comes unto me?
he just shoots a water arrow and you can deal with them. So here we get to see the Hammerites at work. This is what they're using all of that ore from the mine for. He's making hammers, and stacking them in those boxes over there. You can just hang around and watch them work. But I'm not going to. Need to make a jump down here, but that will be noisy, so I'll show you how the moss arrows work. There we go. You can see how that guy's footsteps faded away when he walked across the moss.
Who goes there? Show thyself. Who made that noise?
Whoops. Let's try that again.
Stand forth and speak thyself if thou be there.
They heard me, but they aren't investigating.
In truth, I have never heard such carrying on as this thief's pawn, Cutty.
One would think these scum had never faced tribulation in their lives.
For a time, I thought Block 4 might never sleep again for his coughs. But he quiets now.
Good. Death or durance, 'twill be the same for him in the end.
See the Hammerites? Total jerks.
Know them to beware in combat with breakers, to armor thyself against their blandishments, and to strike through their lies and trickery.
Identify them. Someone there? It was just the wind then.
Yeah, it was just the wind. So as we move from the factory up to the prison, the clanking of machinery's gone away, and there's just this low, ominous hum. The ambient sound in Thief
What was that I heard?
is incredible. It's really good at setting the scene. This is what I mean about the lights.
Protects us from the squalid past.
Now we've got a flickering
Knowledge is our
electric
weapon,
light,
with which we carve a path to an enlightened future.
and a guy standing right there. You know what? I forgot to read the tip. It tells me that there's a holy water font.
And the builder
Okay.
said, if the foundation is weak, do you wail and gnash your teeth? Do you ask it to repour itself? Nay, you tear it down and begin. Come closer, and thou shalt.
Let's try that again.
Stop! Who are...
Let's try that another time.
Come closer, and
Let's not do that.
vigilance is our shield that protects us from the squalid past. Knowledge is our weapon, with which we carve a path to an enlightened future.
If only that worked.
Vigilance is our shield that protects us from the squalid.
Holy crap, that worked. I did not expect that to work. I just thought it would be funny. I stood in front of the camera, didn't I? I forgot there's a camera there. Okay, here the lights are giving us a pretty big clue about what to do. There's a guard standing up there, and in front of all of these prison cells, a zigzag path of shadow. They're not very nice cells, are they? Again,
Needs must I calm my nerves.
the shadows tell us what to do.
Tis the builder's piece now.
I would not have thought that rats would dare their teeth against the builder's house.
It's always rats. Okay, there's Cuddy in cell number 6. Palm scalded daily. One of them died of flux. Somebody was gelded. They're, yeah, they're not nice people. Alright, which one is cell 6? That one. They love stained glass, the Hammerites. And yeah, the hammer is kind of crucifix-shaped. The parallels between the Hammerites and fundamentalist Christians, I don't know, they are a little bit on the nose.
All right, old man. Let's get you out of here and me my money.
Afraid you're gonna be disappointed.
Good thing you're dying, Cuddy, or I'd have to kill you for stiffing me. Again.
Snap, snap, puppy. But I owe you, so... Felix went after the Horn of Quintus, down the Bonehoard. Left me his notes. The Hammers got him, put him in their evidence box. Loot collection, more like. Upstairs. Officers' quarters. Once you're up there, hidden passage. If damp hadn't rotted my lungs.
This is the thing that a thief will do over and over again. You start out with a basic set of objectives, and then halfway through the level, what you're doing changes. If I was playing this on Expert, there would be even more. There's another objective to rescue another friend of yours named Basso the Boxman, who's been arrested, and there's also an objective to find a Hand of Glory, which is the severed hand of a convicted criminal, and is like a lucky token for thieves. But yeah, if you looked at that map at the start and saw that the officers' barracks and quarters were at the top, and didn't think we'd have to go through them, then you don't know Thief very well. Or video games, I guess. Let's look at that map properly. Cell block 1 leads to the barracks. Nobody really seems... I was about to say they don't seem too bothered by that alarm. I was wrong. Oh, that guy I accidentally left out. They just straight up murdered him. I don't want to end up like that. I've never seen that happen before. I know that you can let the other prisoners out and they'll do a runner and create a little bit of chaos. But I've never seen them actually get murdered by Hammerites. Here we go, the barracks. There's a lot of variety in this level between the haunted mines, the factory, the prison, and now the barracks, even though most of it is just
What is that? Who goes?
Hammerites and slightly different corridors.
This must be how they spend all those tithes.
Always cynical. Oh, the bowl's not valuable.
Halt! From what shadow sprang thou, villain?
Whoops. Another chance to show you that the combat system in Thief is weird and clunky. I believe it's designed to be this clumsy on purpose, though. You're not supposed to be stabbing people in Thief. You may say that Thief's clunky combat system is just clunky. My belief is that it's designed that way on purpose.
I thought I spied something.
That Garrett isn't good at sword fighting, and so you, the player, can never really be very good at sword fighting. I've heard Warren Spector say he was one of the developers on Thief during the early stages of the project, but then he left to go and make Deus Ex instead. He wanted the sword fighting to be better, he wanted the sword to cause more damage, he wanted it to be a real option that if you were having trouble sneaking your way past something, you could just fight the guards instead. And the rest of the team said no. And I think they were right. I think it's better this way. I think that putting all of their focus on making the stealth enjoyable rather than trying to bolt sword fighting onto it was a better idea. But you might just believe that they made a crappy sword fighting system because they made a crappy sword fighting system, and your face is a crappy sword fighting system. No, I don't believe that, but plenty of people do. It gets nicer the higher you go, and more religious too, more openly, opulently. All that iconography everywhere. I have a key, but it's the wrong one. Here's something I can read. This is just about one of the prisoners who has escaped.
Someone come? Well, I see nothing now.
Another safe I don't have a key for.
Never fear, I shall spy thee out.
Those are the deliberate
Where art
footsteps
thou,
of someone who is looking for me.
There seems nothing now.
More of that noisy gravel.
Spied something, and the word was just the wind then.
All these people I have to work with, so incompetent, so stupid, so lazy. I don't see why I should be the one to be...
You do spend a lot of time hiding in the shadows, listening to guards complain about their jobs. And I appreciate that they put the effort into giving them so much goofy dialogue about it. So much like Monty Python comedy complaining about when they're going to get their dinner and how everybody else slacks off but them.
seems peaceful now. Halt! Be someone there? It seems nothing now. Husk, drop thy weapon!
Oh, crap. Here we go again.
Ha-ha!
To me, mine brothers, and
Okay, I murdered somebody, but he did have a key that I wanted, so let's see if that key opens those safes. Yep.
Cuddy won't be needing this anymore.
This leads us to our next job, the Bone Horde. Alright, we did it. If I was playing that on a harder difficulty, then I would have needed to find a way out of the barracks as well. But again, on normal, things are a bit simpler for you. Yep, I killed somebody. Oh well, it had to happen sooner or later. Next time we'll be heading down into the Bone Horde, which again is a very different mission. The opening missions of Thief are really showing off a variety of different play styles, with the urban noble's mansion, and then the mine and prison full of zombies and religious fanatics, and then we go on what is basically a tomb raid in the next mission. But you'll see what I mean soon.